What's up guys, Sal here. So if you've been following the Galaxy S11 rumors, then you know that Samsung will equip the 108 megapixel camera sensor on the Galaxy S11 Plus. Samsung unveiled this camera sensor 4 months ago, and Xiaomi is the first one to use this sensor on its smartphones. A lot of you were asking whether or not the Galaxy S11 Plus would also have the same sensor. The last time I heard, Xiaomi's 108 megapixel camera phone doesn't produce really good pictures, so it's understandable why some of you had that concern. But thankfully, the camera model on the S11 is going to be better because the sensor that Samsung is going to use is totally different. IceUniverse tweeted out today that the 108 megapixel camera sensor that Samsung is using for the S11 Plus has a sensor size of 1 by 1.3 inches, which is same as Xiaomi's, but Samsung is using an exclusive custom sensor that's superior in quality compared to the ISOCELL Bright HMX that Xiaomi is using for their smartphones, which is good and makes total sense. I mean, Samsung wants to differentiate its flagship grade cameras from its competitors or clients. Xiaomi is using Samsung's 108 megapixel ISOCELL sensor, so it would have been foolish for Samsung to let Xiaomi use the same sensor that they're gonna put on their flagship phones. Clearly, it's not the case. We saw this coming ever since we got to know that Samsung is going for 108 megapixel camera for the S11 Plus, but it's good to have some sort of confirmation. Also, IceUniverse says Samsung's camera model is expensive than Xiaomi's, which again means it's a better piece of technology. The Snapdragon 865 is going to be the flagship processor for next year, and the Galaxy S11 is going to be one of the first devices to have this chipset. Today we have the benchmark of this chipset, which shows that Qualcomm has done a great job in developing this chipset because the numbers are really impressive. Qualcomm said their new chipset is about 25% faster than last year, and the Geekbench test results show that Qualcomm has delivered on its promises. The multi-core scores are nearly as good as Apple's latest A13 Bionic chip. I guess it's the first time ever that we're seeing Apple's and Qualcomm's numbers this close. Qualcomm has never beaten Apple in Geekbench, but hopefully we'll be able to see that someday. By the way, the Exynos 990, which is also going to end up on the Galaxy S11, hasn't been benchmarked just yet, but purely judging from the past, I'm not really expecting great numbers from Samsung this year as well. By the way, in single-core performance, the Exynos processors are really good. As you can see, the Snapdragon 865 couldn't able to beat the Exynos 9825, which is a 2019 processor. So it means the Exynos 990 will only have better numbers and will probably take the number 2 spot. I'm sure they're not going to beat Apple's numbers this year as well. It's also worth mentioning that these numbers don't necessarily translate to real-world performance. These are only for comparisons. I'm sure you won't be able to notice the difference in real life because the processors are already fast enough. Of course, with that being said, do consider subscribing for all the latest Galaxy S11 updates. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.